engage and to collaborate with artists, musicians, and it's likely to be a monthly event, but we need to all contribute and be a part of it in order for it to continue. So we're asking for $5 donations in that jug right there, or a $10 donation for an endless cup of coffee and a muffin. And the pastries are really good here too. Very, very good. And so yeah. So thank you for all coming and being a part of this. To put it on.
Thank you.
Yay! Woo.
Okay. I want to change the way you see sound. I want each and every one of you to feel profound. Stretching timely spaces, sinew drying, carpet-clad walls, tapestries hanging from the ground, instant isolation, a state of mind, falling stars sparkling, comets, falling stars sparkling again. I want you to hear what I am tasting. Sand for centuries, dunescapes, waving grasses, brushing my hands, fingers gliding over the edge, captivation calling incredibly, I am still alive. Under logs, floating in hot lava, dreams are scattered, morning is soft, a calling to let me breathe, sound. A lyrical emphasis on pure bliss, ambient tide, progesterone amplified. My bones are heavy, emblems bent, empathy sent, away on a message of a new day, spent in a classic. Snow is falling, ahead of the curve, don't be learned but be deserved. Don't be able but be reserved, checking all exits, contact at all edges, carefully drawing conclusions, disturbed and disillusioned. The cost of preserving divine light is the darkness you can share in the eyes of the crowds. Don't be proud, be alarmed at the rate we are digressing. Trillions sold, our money is gold. Mineral spells, Monsanto smells, their own putrid rot as they blow up our spot. Oh wait, radio waves tell us we don't know. Too young to build, to spill ourselves on a pavement for you. I'm not liquid. Tough beats, hit home, down the road from Honey Hollow. Tattered clothes, dry by the beach. Salt, baking on a bath. Flowing down the river on a raft. Through the dam and into the sand, knee-deep in fluffy snow, open sky. I don't like to say goodbye, but I sure like to say hello. So, hello.
Sweet!
Here at Global Cafe, and I just want to thank everybody for coming. This is really an awesome event. Chris asked me, I normally work days, so he said, you want to work Sunday night for the Global Sunday? I said, absolutely, and I'm so glad that I did. So these are just a couple of things that I wrote when I had to. Living color. Her color is purple, latte. Fragrant, deep and rich. Texture, liquid, thick, creamy, bubbles on my lips. Heaven at the crown of her hips. A rare occasion, perfection for every day. Like a blooming orchard, twinkling with last night's moisture on a spring morning. The sultry heat still clinging to our skin, and the promising summer night. The majestic autumn sky, ablaze with an explosion of tie-dye. Beauty that takes my breath away. The crisp February 5:50 a.m. Open my eyes to an unspeakable need for closeness. Candles melting together. One flame, one love, one life, my wife. Me or she. Bashful baby, varying brown eyes. Let me see. Watch what you do to me. Breathe, giggle, feel. Our love is real. She swells silently. Nothing to fear. Come here. Moan, wiggle, weep. Our love is deep. Take time to taste. On my tongue, in your mouth. Swallow, whisper, kiss. Our love I miss. This is actually a Langston Hughes but it's something that I hold on to very closely. Gather out of stardust, earth dust, cloud dust, storm dust, and splinters of hail, one handful of dream dust, not for sale. And this will be the last. Can it last? My dope fiend fast. I see it everywhere. Tell myself I don't care. Why do I pay attention? Years and years of toxic connections. Is it envy? Is it longing? All it does is destroy my belongings. How can you know the truth, yet still listen to the whispering lies? All I know is I don't want to die. The only ending if I do die.
Imprisoned in a cloud of doubt that will rain down and leave you floating in air blessed with now. Friends be crowding around patterns, dressed patiently, partly protruding past the elegant pantheons and into the hands of brave souls, daring to swear off ambiguous prose, for pinpointed expression, immersed in possibility grows. From composting gases, decomposing solids become food for the masses, composing tunes, enlisting you to dance to the grooves and the mysterious swoon. Prey engaging predators until predators embrace you. Alright. This one I wrote recently. It's called There Used to Be Snow. Because it seems to be weird nowadays. There was a time when there used to be a snowman in every yard, when snowplows like tractors groaned through the streets that would cause snowbanks you could build forts in. Sometimes the snow was so deep that one could jump from a one-story house into its depths. When a person sat down in it, it was hard to get up. A flood of crystallized water, disfigured by still air. Ponds used to freeze through. Snowballs flew through the air, across streets, and into parks. There used to be snow days. The children could not get to school. Shoveling snow used to be a regular task. Dogs would dive and tunnel in deep powder. It would pile on the corners of window panes. There used to be snow. There used to be snow.
Yay!
Doing of late has basically been integrating some of my own personal experiences and my own spiritual path towards trying to find a greater sense of meaning both for myself and for my community at large. And this community that I'm referring to is the larger LGBTQ community. In my own sense of self-exploration has led me to many different places and to many different experiences and to approaches to sort of better trying to understand our unique place and role within the greater context of the society, something that I feel has been long oppressed and long forgotten. And so the understanding recently that I've kind of been led to is being brought into sort of the shamanistic traditions of the indigenous people of this country, of the Native Americans, and their understanding of a people that were known as the Two Spirits, or the Berdache, as they were often labeled by the French missionaries when they first started coming here. And so basically, and upon uncovering some of this, which seems to be a similar vein of interest for a lot of other people in the queer community who have sought to cultivate this deeper spiritual understanding, who have been frustrated with the larger queer community as it stands in mainstream society, have kind of fallen into the same path. Harry Hay, who founded the Mattachine Society in 1950s in San Francisco, he also found a similar path when he was 13 years old and living in Los Angeles when the Hopi were making their, every quarter of a century, they make this trek out from Arizona, from the arid desert out to the coast, and it's part of an initiation of the men's rights. And he sort of witnessed all of these people coming out here to perform sort of the rituals and ceremonies among many other people who were standing by, and he was really inspired by this and started digging into Native American culture, and eventually uncovered at a very early age about these people called the Two Spirits, or the Berdache. And sort of this became one of his core beliefs that ended up getting integrated into his whole political and social activism for the next, essentially the rest of his life. So these ideas became integrated into the Mattachine Society, which was sort of the first really known sort of queer support community that existed, a gay men's support program, and they basically started doing social activism around like 1966, I think, was one of the first protests for gay rights, which was pretty incredible because there was only like anywhere between 4 to 10 people out on the streets dealing with the society at that time, which I imagine was pretty difficult. So a lot of this journey seems to be a commonplace. Another main writer who I'm thinking of and has been reading his books was Andrew Remer, who also wrote a book called Two Flutes Playing, and he sort of delves deeply into this topic about the role of queer people in society. And so all of this stuff, all of these different ideas, I've kind of started integrating together to create this program that I have called as of right now Queer Shamanism, which I've been working with an LGBTQ youth counselor who works predominantly in Cicero, and we're presently working together to create a group with his group called Tribe and another group, Crew. One is a LGBTQ youth program that deals predominantly with Latino and African American youth, and another one that's 25 plus gay men, and trying to bring these together and sort of add in spirit, essentially, and trying to find a way to bring back the sacred circle and to talk about some of these long forgotten topics, which these topics are far-ranging and applicable to people regardless of your sexual orientation, and everyone should know about them and be educated on them. But the emphasis on this particular group is to bring a sense of empowerment to LGBTQ youth who, like, from my personal experience, it was very disempowering growing up in this society and not really having a place and not really having positive role models and not really seeing much because there were none. I mean, we didn't have the same rights, and are sort of possibly getting that in the next couple of weeks with the equality of marriage, but there hasn't really been the same equal opportunity for people in this country, in the gay community. And there hasn't really been outstanding positive role models or how a relationship works or love or anything of that nature. And definitely not a place within the spiritual context, since religion has often been used as a tool to sort of cast out queer people. And unless people manage to go find a path in paganism, Wicca, Buddhism, or something like that is a little bit more all-embracing, then you're kind of stuck with a dualistic perception of reality that kind of leaves that role out. So in many traditional cultures, and even in cultures that presently exist in Southeast Asia, along with the Native American cultures here, is the idea of a third gender people, which is these Berdache two-spirit people that I'm talking about. And this is a role that sort of completely transcends that dualistic form of cisgender consciousness or anatomical gender consciousness into a place that's based more on the energetics of this being, of being able to balance both the masculine and the feminine within a single being. So basically this group is being created to help and educate LGBTQ youth on this history that is forgotten, and to build sort of a sense of empowerment and to bring up some of our history and some of this information as a tool so that we can find a place within the bigger society, so that it is not just limited to people who ending up in Boys Town or the Castro or some other gay community where the emphasis seems to be more on just sexuality and on essentially just on sexuality, or being caught up in the superficiality and the consumer culture that has been so easily able to prey upon a broken people. So basically I'm just looking to open any sort of discussion and insight that you may have, or any questions that you may have that may be helpful in developing this program. Part of it is that we're foreseeing is working with these different groups and bringing back the circle, talking stick type stuff, doing meditations, doing sort of visionary art therapy, introducing them to more yoga, aqua yoga, urban gardening projects, especially since statistically it's said that about 20 to 40% of homeless people identify as LGBTQ, and giving them a space where they would actually be able to create a garden within the urban environment, which I believe is an essential skill that anybody should know about being able to grow their own food, that everyone must take, and just kind of following wherever you feel called to pursue. I mean, that may be through anything from pursuing healing, from getting massage or Reiki or cranial or whatever, to traveling to a different country, to taking